Okay guys, welcome back to the part 4 of my Rome Total War modding tutorial series. We'll start by opening up your file from the last tutorial. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to set it up so we can start painting a texture. First we're going to want to get rid of these things we don't need. Let's also just save this as a, let's call it fourth. Okay. So let's start by hiding, naming these things. This would be primary weapon. This would be secondary weapon. Let's also hide this cape for the time being. Let's hide the pauldrons. And you could also hide these two. So this is his basic, and let's hide this scabbard. This is his basic body. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to set up a UV map for everything. First thing we're going to do is divide everything up into elements that they would be on the texture. So if you click 5 to go to your elements and then you select it, you see everything's highlighted. So what we're going to do is we just want to select those areas of the model that we're going to break apart. My mouse is a little broken, so bear with me. We want to detach into a completely separate object. Okay. We're going to delete his other half since we don't need it. I know we spent time mirroring it, but that was just to work out the bug. So now it sits directly on the axis and we don't have to redo that next time. We can just do a straight symmetry. Okay. Now we want to break off the head. So just click on it, go to isolate selection. Oops. Okay, now we want to detach that. Again, let's delete his leg. And let's delete, detach this. And let's detach this. Okay, so now each thing is its own separate object. And now what you're going to do is you're going to apply UV texture coordinates. We'll start with the arm. The arm, one second. This looks like a little geometry problem. Maybe not. No, it's okay. Okay, so for the arm, you want to apply what's called a UV map. This geometry in 3D space has what's called UV coordinates. So, but right now, they're probably all messed up since all the cutting, pulling, and extruding we did. So you need to give it new UV coordinates. So you apply a UV map to it. Now the best way, you see right now it sort of forms the geometry. We want to make this square. And to get everything in proportion with each other, we're going to assign all UV maps we use in this project to have a length and width of 2. And also what you want to do is, since if it comes from the top, the seam around the geometry is going to be along the side. So that means that the top is going to be the same as the bottom, and the right is not going to be the same as the left. So what we're going to do is we're going to rotate, just click on this, we're going to rotate this 90 degrees, make sure angle snaps are on. And now what you're going to do is, on the texture you could see the top is going to be lighter and the bottom is going to be darker because of the shadows, as opposed to the other way we couldn't achieve that. Okay, so now you apply that UV map, you go to another modifier, you apply Unwrap UVW. You go to Edit, and now you're going to see that this object is on this grid space, 2D grid space. And all you're going to do is you're going to move it away from the center. And now right click, convert to editable poly. Now you're going to do that for the same way over all these objects. Okay, apply UV map. And again, you're going to want to apply from the side. Length and width is 2. Once you get the hang of this, this does not take long at all. And you'll see why we have to move these off the center. The only part you're going to have trouble is areas like the face. Because when you have a four-sided limb, it's not a problem. There's no stretching. But watch what happens when you have a UV map on a face. You're going to want to come in from the left side. And now you're going to see that this looks like a profile, but what we want is not actually a profile, because if we assign a checkerboard texture to it, we make the texture visible, and one second. Now what you'll see is that, see, this is square over here, but over here it's a rectangle. You want to get it to the point where, see if I can make this a little clearer. See how these are all rectangles and these are squares? You want to get it to the point where everything's a square. Okay, that means there's minimal stretching or no stretching. So all you're going to do is you would go back to your Unwrap UVW, edit. Now this is huge, but we'll deal with it. Okay, this is just to give you the idea. Now you want to pull out these vertices a little bit. Okay, now that's square. And you want to pull out all these vertices a little bit. And you can see they're stretching up here, so don't worry about the stretching up there. Okay, you're not really going to see that. And that's as really as good as we could get for geometry that's this low poly. Once you start getting into real high poly stuff, it takes a long time to UV map it, and it's very frustrating. So now again, just right click, convert to editable poly, and we're going to do that for everything. Okay, the same thing on the torso. You're going to want to come in from the left. Okay, everything on this body you're going to come in from the left, except the arm you come in from the front or the back. And you could do most of that yourself. I'm just going to do a couple pieces of equipment. For the sword, you're going to want to, since this is scaled, it's actually going to throw off the coordinates a lot. So you're just going to have to eyeball it. Okay, you can see that that's good enough. For the scabbard, if you do a, here, let me show you. If you do a projection like that, you're just going to get a box, which means that over here on the top and sides is going to stretch. It's going to pull the last pixel straight across, which actually isn't a bad thing. Okay, you just have to set up your texture so it looks right. It has a solid color, or the color, you know, if it has a piece of metal running across. And I'll show you how to do that. Otherwise, what you could do, which I'm not going to work the kinks out of, is you can have it coming from the side, and now you would have a full you know, like one of those 3D boxes. You could see how it works. This is the front, these are the sides, and that's the back. You could break that apart, or you could just repeat these areas of the texture, but I'm sure you can figure it out once you get this concept. There we go. And something I forgot to do with the head was, and the sword. Just move it off of the center. This is actually important, as well as getting most of them the same size. Oops. Let's just also scale this down. Okay, so just go through everything else. I have to go through it anyway, so I'm going to be recording it if there's anything important, but I don't want to take up extra space, so I'm just going to skip ahead. The next time you see it, it's probably just going to be we're going to be setting it up. Okay, so I have to go finish this, and you guys should do the same. Okay. On the pauldrons, you're going to want to since they're 3, you could put another cut in the middle and repeat them, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, I'm just going to go in from the top. Oops. What we should have done first was get rid of those. And also, since we'll make the top the same as the bottom, it'll save us a lot of room. Let's just move these close to on top of each other. And move them away from center. Now, on the leg, I just UV mapped it, and I noticed that there was this little strange thing. Don't just ignore those. Oops. Because a lot of times what you'll see is when you extrude edges, it'll create extra polygons. So to get rid of those, we're going to go around where you extruded the edges, okay, which were right here, if you remember. Select all these and detach them to the new object. And now you'll see you are also, I deleted these faces inside on the other side of these outside pieces, okay? And now you'll see you have 3 more polygons. You just delete this whole object, it's called object 4, because you still have this. Okay. And on the skirt, oops, on the skirt you're, since you have this piece that stretches across the front and across the back, ooh, this is quite a mess. Ooh, this is very ugly. Okay, we're just going to leave it for now until we have a texture to work with. Just move it off the center. Normally it wouldn't be that bad, but what can you do? Okay, so now what we have here, I just got rid of the standard. I also undid the symmetry on this piece. It was now we have all these objects that are all individually UV mapped. And now to get that nice mesh on that 5 by 12 by 5 by 12 square, first we're going to just right click, bring up your material editor, press M. Okay, and just pick a new material, assign it to everything. Okay. And now we're going to select, one object. Doesn't matter which one. Let's just get rid of that. And also let's get rid of that. Let's just choose the head, and we just go down to attach. We attach everything. That includes the spear, the cape, okay, now you'll see what we have. We go to UVW Unwrap. Now we have all these different objects in all these different places. Okay, ideally they would be the same scale, but they're not. So you can see this center circle over here. Okay, we just want to start bringing all these things in. Okay, you could also go to Options, Advanced Options, Show Grid. Okay. See, these are the things we try to avoid because 3D Max's UVW tools are very poor. Okay, so now we want to start, first we just want to start cleaning any of this up. Okay, like the spear, doesn't need all that wood. And then we want to start arranging these things on the mesh. You could also pull out these vertices a little bit. This is the torso. Okay, don't worry about the back, because that's going to be covered by a cape. So now you just want to use this tool up there. And you want to pull it to about the size you think it should be. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, once we have everything UV mapped, we're just going to select one object. We're going to, actually first, select all objects, just select a new material, apply it to everything. When we go back, we just select any object and just attach every item in the scene. And I should have done this before, but just delete this left half of the cloak and the back pieces of the cloak. Should have done that before. Don't want to confuse you. Okay, so now you go to UVW Unwrap. And you could see that you have all your pieces arranged on the same mesh, and now you have to organize them. So first thing you want to do is clean up obvious areas like the spear. Okay, you could actually just maximize this. Okay, you don't need all that wood showing. You could go to Options, Advanced Options, turn off Show Grid, and that way this square is the square you're working in. So the first thing you could do is, this is your torso. I never pulled these out a little bit. You should pull them out. And just use this tool up here to organize everything, to move it around. And we want to pull it bigger. Okay, you should look at other Rome Total War textures to get an example of how big everything should be. This is your head. Definitely this is too big, but it's also covered by a helmet, so it doesn't have to have quite as much detail. This is the bottom piece to the torso. You can mirror it with this, or you could hold it down, mirror it vertical, whatever. You definitely want this to be similar to your breastplate. The helmet is quite detailed, so you're going to want to make that quite big. Also, pull up these top vertices. I should have done. This is your shoe, your boots. That's about okay. This is the feathers for the crest. Odd shaped objects like that we're going to leave for a minute. Give me 1 second here. Okay, good. This is your arm. I'm going to make it a bit fatter and rotate it so it fits a little better. This is the pauldron. This is the cape. The cape we could just scrunch up. Also the blade over here we could just stretch out. And we could just move these vertices in. This is a scabbard. You can make that a lot smaller. Don't need a lot of detail. That should actually go right into the corner. Now a lot of this is just fidgeting with the pieces you have to get the best possible efficiency from your texture space. This is the spearhead. Okay, this is the metal piece of the crest. Well, we still have a lot of room, so you could start. This is the skirt. The first thing I would do is scale up the torso. And you don't, make sure, just pull back once in a while, make sure you don't forget about anything. Oops. You could also just use hold down Alt and select to deselect anything. Now I just have to remember which was front, which was back. Okay, you could refer back to the model if you need to, but this is, I'm pretty sure, correct. Okay, feel free to pull these out. You could see over here we have some strange geometry, so let's just convert this to a poly, save what we have so far. And we could just select this by an element. Let's see what's going on. Isolate it. Now, why would that be happening? We select all the polys on one side. We get 13, so if we select the whole thing, we get 26. See, that's not right. So again, what we're going to want to do is ignore back facing. Or better yet, let's try this. Oops. Here are those extra polys. And right there. Oops. Huh. Okay, we have 27. That's not right. So let's do what I was going to do. Or we could try welding vertices. Oh, see, there's a lot lower number now. Maybe it'll work. Yep, we're down to 25. Perfect. I thought it should be, oh yeah, because this is 2 over here on this side and 1 and 2. Okay, so now that's sorted out. Reattach it. Go back into Unwrap UVW. Again, we have to turn off the show grid. This is the top of the leg. Here, this is the knee. So for simplicity's sake, everything should just be facing towards one side. Let's put the helmet on here. Scale it up some. You're gonna want to get some nice detail in there. Flip this. Oops. Scabbard. Oops. Oops. And you're probably going to want to scale, oops, see, my mouse is real broken. Scale this out some. Let's flip this. You could see how having a shield would really cramp things up again. But since we're not with a shield, we can still get a good resolution. Let's put in the feathers. Just fit that right in there. That's nice and good. That's good enough. And just now we could just do some minor tweaks. Maybe you could hold down Shift Control to just add. Now you don't want to get them resting on top of each other, but close is good. Oops, we forgot about the sword. Shit. Okay, this spear is real big. So what we're going to do is sacrifice spear. I'm going to put the sword in. What you could also do on the sword is separate these three pieces. We're not going to do that though. You can separate it into the cross guard, the handle, and the blade. But this is okay for now. Actually, yeah, let's do that. And then you selected the cross guard, you just move it into an open area. There we go. And now this is the finished square texture arrangement. And now what I'm going to do is open up Photoshop. Give that a second to open. While we do that, we're going to go to Options, Advanced Options. Make sure your background color is black. Turn off Show Shared Sub-Objects and Display Seams. And OK. Make this a little bigger. What you could do is you could go down here, go to Zoom Extents, and just pull a box around this. Now you want to do Alt Print Screen. Take a screen capture. Now in Photoshop, Control N for a new, just didn't capture the wrong thing. Make sure this window is highlighted, is active. Alt Print Screen, try it again. New. I think it. Okay. Well, what you're going to do is you're going to go to it's my capture software for doing the video tutorials, disabling my print screen key. So what I'm going to do is at the start of the next tutorial, all you want to do is you want to take this screen capture and put it in a new Photoshop document. And then I'm going to show you how to start texture painting. Okay, so I'll see you guys in a little bit.